This is Oba Babatunde from SWAT. Why's it taking you so long to get to us?
Hey guys, it's Lauren Yates from Rave It Up here. Now you may remember Jessica Steen and Brenna Coates on the show recently to talk about their new podcast, Stream Queen. Well, today we have a talk over Zoom with the incredible Hayley Tyson. She is the writer, director, and producer of Stream Queen, and also a former actress herself. So today we get her side of the story, how she came up with this amazing podcast idea, the challenges that she faced, and also the fun times that she had with Jessica and Brenna. There is so much to cover today, so let's get into it now.
Before we get into today's interview, we would like to give a shout out to our Patreons, Irene, Bev, and Michael. If you haven't heard of Patreon before, it is a great way to support us and keep us running and improving. You pick a membership tier that suits you and your budget per month, and in return for supporting us, we'll give you behind-the-scenes content and free stuff. You don't have to give much either. You can be a part of our Patreons for as little as $4 a month. Just visit patreon.com/raveitup. You can even donate through PayPal if you don't trust other sites. You can do so just through our email, raveituptv@gmail.com.
Hayley, welcome to Rave It Up. It is a pleasure to finally have you on the show, right? We've been trying to organize this for probably many, many months now. Welcome to Rave It Up. How are you going today?
Oh, fantastic, right? I mean, it's so busy, as you know, and with all the things that are happening right now, right before the New Year's end, it's kind of like a big push. So it's super, super busy.
But a couple more weeks to Christmas, right? And then hopefully you have time off. I hope.
Well, I just was planning with Jessica and Brenna flying to LA. We're going to shoot a promo. So we're like, oh yeah, that little thing in there, Christmas, let's get that done. And then let's carry on. Like, seriously, that's how we're looking at it.
Like it's an annoyance in the middle of
everything. Exactly. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I hope you do have a little bit of time off just to, relax. I know you don't get enough of that, so please tell me you're gonna do it.
I feel like with COVID, we had so much trapped in the house time that all I want to do is just keep moving, right? Just keep getting out there and doing stuff.
Yeah, that's very true. You just want to all that time at home. You're like, nah, I want to be out and doing things.
Yeah. Get out there and executing, right? Executing for sure.
Yeah, next year can be the relaxation time.
That's right. Yeah, next pandemic.
Yes. Oh, the Dutch wood. Let's not say that. Well, it's lovely to finally meet you. You've been saying some really lovely stuff to me and my team over email, and we love you. We love you. So for our audience, as she just mentioned, Jessica Steen, Brenna Coates, they're in a new podcast called Stream Queen. And this amazing lady is writer, producer, director, everything of this whole amazing podcast. And you know how much I love it, Hayley. And I cannot wait for more. Fingers crossed. For those who
season 2 coming.
Yeah, it's a fictional podcast and all about a vlogger, influencer, and a skeptical mother who comes to visit. Yeah. Check out our interview with the other ladies as well. But it's such a unique idea. Like before this, I had never actually heard of fictional podcasts. And I was like, oh, it's actually a thing. So how did you come up with the whole idea for this podcast? Do you have a mother just like the mother in this podcast series?
I actually, I don't. And there's so many things to unpack in what you just said. One is that I had been listening to Limetown and Homecoming and a whole host of fictional podcasts that were then adapted for television or film. And I really loved almost like a radio play. That's really what they're like, right? And you get this intimate experience, but there's not a lot of opportunity for it because either it's in your car or it's when you're going to bed, right? So it's not like you can't play like, Smart List or something like that. You can do that and cook. It's hard to do a story and be busy at the same time. So I knew it was a very finite audience. So I wanted to kind of get proof of concept with that experience and say, okay, do people like these characters? Do they like the story? And originally the mother in real life is Jessica's mother. It actually happened to Jessica. Episode 1 happened to Jessica. She was going to the opening of, I think it was Armageddon or something. And she got a 911 text, which at that time was a pager from a friend saying, you need to come home. Your mother is fried. And it turned out her mother had eaten these cookies and she was high as a kite and didn't know. And it was just this hilarious story. So I wrote a short film called Baked. about it. And then we never got that made and life carried on. And Jessica, when I say she's a collector, she makes like the Smithsonian look like they didn't keep anything. Okay. So she was going through her house and cleaning it out, moving out of LA. And she said, oh, I have the original script for Baked. I'm just going to mail it to you. Right. So she mailed it and I read it and it was awful. It was so dated and it was really cringy, but I saw like a germ of a relationship in it. And then I went and saw Jerusalem, which was a play by Jez Butterworth starring with Brenna Coates in it. She was incredible. I mean, she was not the lead by any stretch of the imagination, and I could not keep my eyes off her. She was absolutely, I just called her spray voltage because everything's happening at once. She crying and laughing, and she was so charismatic. I thought, I've got to write something for this woman. She's a millennial who doesn't know it.
Yes.
Right. So in looking at all of the people like yourself who have removed the gatekeeper through technology and said, I'm a media house, whether you like it or not, I get to do what I want, right? Like you have full agency from the technology. But what I saw was people my age aren't big fans of millennials, right? So I kind of went on this theory that if you opened a vegan candle shop, a bricks and mortar, you're a hero, you're an entrepreneur, you're a bootstrapper. But if you do an Instagram account and drop ship vegan candles, you're a narcissist, right? So I didn't quite understand what was happening with my generation, why my generation was maligning the millennial. And I kind of wanted to bridge that gap and show that there was so much to learn from this generation. And there was actually so much synergy. So I thought, let me take this germ of the story of the mom coming to visit. Let me change the person in it to being a vlogger. And let's have the mother, sort of like be the person who basically drops those Molotov cocktails on the daughter so the daughter can explain her generation to us, right? So that was really where it all came from. And doing the research was fascinating because, well, you know from yourself, right, that you are creating the whole thing. You're the IT person, you're the film, you're the cameraman, you're the sound man, you're the content creator. And if you decide to stop doing it tomorrow, it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
Right. So really, how is that different from the person who starts a company and is constantly working 24/7 to keep it going? So I really started to dive into specifically female vloggers, and it's an impressive place for sure.
Oh,
so
thank you for kind of giving us a bit of a platform.
Yeah, well, it's true though, right? Like if you actually, because I think people think you're only seeking fame. They don't think you're seeking knowledge or community. And so that's why I had the character say, look, I couldn't find a family here. So I found it out there with just 900 people who follow me. And the reason I kept her under 1,000 people is that you have to have 1,000 to live stream.
Yes.
So unfortunately, her mom comes along and, it's a car accident, which is what the internet wants as well. And she gets what she wants, but, also gets what she doesn't want, right? Which is the car accident. So it's been, so that was sort of how it all these pieces came together. But really, I know Jessica, I've known her for years. I wrote a film for her before. And I knew she had this comedic talent, but it really came down to, could Brenna encapsulate everything it is to be the millennial who's confident, insecure, ready to take on the world, don't know if I can step out the door, all of those, that whole mashup, right?
Of just being a young person.
That's right. Exactly. And also saying that, like, I have 2 kids around that age. I have a 24 and a 21-year-old. And one thing I will say about this generation is that they will not suffer. Okay. They don't suffer inconveniences, which I know sounds really entitled and ridiculous, but at the same time, there's something interesting in it. There's like an urgency and an expedience. And out of that comes all this technology that we have. So there's some bad to it for sure, but there's also an enormous amount of good that comes from it. Yeah. So that has, like, I say, we champion the millennial and the middle-aged woman. Both of these two are maligned equally in society, right?
And you find out as the episodes go on, they have way more in common than you think.
Oh yeah, totally. And you know what the interesting thing is our demographics. Like, so I knew that if people heard it, that women share funny. Like, I know that they share anything comedic, but I didn't anticipate that younger people would connect with the mother and that older people would connect with the daughter. I didn't think there'd be this crossover of a market where, you know, if you don't have a child, you relate to, everyone has a mother. Everyone either has been a mother or has a mother or has an aunt or somebody where they go, oh my God, that's so my aunt, my mother, whoever, or that's so our relationship. And then I didn't expect, Lauren, men to say, ugh, this is like I'm listening in on my wife and my daughter. This is like my girlfriend. I just feel like I stepped into the kitchen, you know, that kind of thing. So it's had some really interesting, we had some great feedback for sure.
And you definitely couldn't have cast like better people. Like, good on you. Like, huge applause. How long have you known Jessica for? Met.
I've known Jessica since she was, I'm going to say 21.
Wow.
When I lived in LA, when I lived in LA, she was on a series called, she's gonna kill me. It's a sci-fi series that she has a huge, it's terrible, huge fandom for, right? Like, I mean, she still does like Comic Cons and things like that for it. And she was doing that, and she had this really funky house in the hills, and I knew her from Toronto. And so she would have this Canadian girls' night that kind of always shut down the hills. It was a big party. So I really connected with her then. And then we just stayed close ever since there. She is a really rare actress who can deliver an enormous amount of dialogue and very clearly, and find a lot of nuance in it. And she's a perfectionist. Like, the amount of dialogue, I was saying to her, I gave them more dialogue than I think they've had in a decade combined in scripts.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
She really doesn't have to really say that much, and she's not in like every single scene, every single episode, and you're giving her chunks of content, chunks of dialogue. I'm like, wow.
Yeah. Well, also because, you know, we were saying menopause isn't actually a career. So I'm not sure why it's written like this. It's not a job, right? So I keep saying to her, like, why are you playing moms that just bring pies to the table? Like, I'm pretty sure we can add a little more color to what you're doing, right? And then for Brenna was fantastic because she's the most millennial you could meet. She doesn't know technology. She's not really on social media. Everything was a completely different take. So I could just rely on the two of them to show up. We did zero rehearsal.
Well, I like that fact. When you told me that, I was like, really? Like, when you listen to it, you're like, no, this has got to be, they know their script so well. It would have been a bit of rehearsal.
What about the fact that they never met?
That's really cool too. And I also thought they're both very busy people, and yourself too. And with, you know, Jessica always on set with Heartland. How did you, like, I guess, organize the whole busy schedules? What was like the latest and earliest time you recorded?
You know that coordinating people for your show, you don't want to say it, but it's a nightmare. You don't have to say it. I'll say it for you. It's a nightmare, right?
It is a nightmare. Yeah.
It's a nightmare.
That's why I got like that whole booking platform now.
You're
way easier.
I would say that it's not even called booking. I would just call it canceling, right? So for Jessica and Brenna, we're different cities and different countries. And one was on a show. Brenna was flying to Canada to do a feature film, and it was all over the place. So basically I never sent them a script in advance, and they never knew it was coming. So they only got the episode that we were shooting, right? Or that we were recording, because I didn't want them to know what happens to them in the story. Because I just thought, you don't know in real life what's going to happen to you. Why would you know? So which is very non-traditional in series. Obviously you get all of your episodes, or you certainly know your story arc. And at first I think they were like, it was a little weird. I kind of wanted to know if in this moment I'm playing against this. I'm like, well, it doesn't matter because you don't know what's going to happen. I'm not going to tell you. So they would get the script, and then honestly, it's a friend of mine, Doug Wilkinson, who is sort of like the post-production. Like if you're doing a Guillermo del Toro film, or Adam McGowan, or anyone, it's always Doug Wilkinson. I happen to have grown up with his partner. So I called him and said, here's my technical challenge. I've got people in different countries. I need to do an audio of them. I need it sent to me. I need it assembled. And he said, ship them mics, have them do it on Zoom so that we have the conversation, but then the audio is captured on their iPhones, and then literally it has there's no interference. So we'd record each. And then did you ever see that Letterman, This Person Needs No Introduction with Billie Eilish?
I haven't watched that episode yet, but.
Okay. So in it, her brother Phineas shows the soundboard and shows all the lines. And he says, what is that? He says she doesn't like to record live. So we do like one line at a time or one word at a time. And I thought, that's it. Because my scripts are so verbose. If we have to go top to bottom, we're never going to get a good take. So what if we just do 5 lines at a time? And then they ship me the line. And so that's what we did. So we'd say, we're just doing from here to here. They'd record it. I'd only let them do 1 take. And in some cases, if Jessica absolutely demanded it, we would do 2, but I only let her set the one that she liked. And then I would assemble it, ship it off to this guy, Justin Meriden, who did the assembly and the editing. And then I did all the original Foley. So all the shower, all of the cup, all the coffee, all the is me running around my own house, recording it. It's all, Lauren, it's
How about
all
like
original Foley.
the cat? Do you have a cat too, or was that?
I don't have a cat. The cat is a YouTube cat that's in a fight.
Oh, really?
Yeah, totally. So I would be like, literally in my kitchen, I'd be saying to my family, quiet on the set. I'm doing a garbage bag sort of thing. The kitchen fridge that says Sabbath mode is turned on is an auto generator. Like this is like why I want people to just take whatever they want to do and create it, because technology wise, you don't need anyone's help. You can totally do this all yourself, right? All yourself.
But I guess to make it all sound like they're in the same room, you think it was definitely the actual mics that you shipped over to them? Because otherwise, I don't think you would have got that same effect.
I don't know. I honestly, I think technology is so advanced now, particularly the iPhone for sound, that you use that recorder app, and that Foley is all done on the recorder app. Like there's no sound stage. And I mean, like my neighbor's using his grizz leaf blower half the time while I'm doing stuff. So like one of the things I wanted was to get the space of the condo so that everyone could picture that. I don't know if, I'm sure in Australia you have, in Melbourne or Adelaide, in your major cities, you have these cement condos. Right. So what's the square footage? I have 2 nephews actually in Australia, and one lives in Adelaide and one lives in Melbourne, but their apartments don't look as small as what we have in Toronto. Like, do you guys have these cement boxes?
Like we call them apartments here. We don't really call them condos, but yeah, it depends where you are. Like some are really, really small. Some are really big. Like I can imagine when you do listen to the podcast, I can imagine that in my mind.
Yeah, exactly. That sliding door, it's like it's a 1.5 bedrooms, but really it's like, oh, it looks like a dent in the wall. So I wanted that sense of that whenever they were going somewhere, they weren't going that far. So I would like run that distance in my house and then run back sort of thing. And we were changing it was really interesting. We were changing the sound so that when the mom comes out of the bedroom, her sound comes up to the counter, because I wanted that claustrophobia, because really I see those condos as prison cells, right? Which is why the mother says, bad for the mental health in prison, but 100,000 a square foot for you up and comers, because they're sentenced to life together in this cell, which is this ridiculous expensive condo. So there's a lot of like, sort of symbolism in the sound as well, right?
Yeah. And how about like, I was always wanting to know the answer to this, but the whole elevated bed hoist thing, how did you get that noise?
Okay.
I was like, that is so cool. My favorite part.
So have you watched those tiny house shows?
Yeah,
yes, they go, this is this is where I cook my fusion food, and it's also a compost toilet. Like, everything has multiple purposes. But this is what I say about like millennials not suffering. Everything's so perfect, right? These are the perfect bags. These are the perfect boxes. Everything is organized. Everything's labeled. It's all within this much space. So I looked at those tiny houses, and those beds that come down on the hoists are, I don't know if they're genius or ridiculous. I can't decide myself, right? They're a great idea.
Lifesaver.
Yeah, they are. But I think, have we gone to a point where we have to have beds that are also ceilings? I don't know. But in making the sound, I was like, let's do a garage. So we did the sound of a garage door, a chain, and a hoist in a car shop, right? We put them all together to make that sound. But it's to tell you how American Brenna is. She says it's attached to garage door reels. I'm like, what's a garage door reel? But we left it in because so we're like, I don't know what she's saying. There's many things that Brenna, that's what the other thing with Brenna is, you can't pay for her pronunciation of certain words. She says, button, She doesn't say her T's. She says like antibiotics. Like she has all her own pronunciation, which is perfect. It's like she was like, how do I pronounce it? I'm like, no, we're not going to tell you. Keep it as it is. Go with it. Be you.
I love it. Well, I hope everyone now, if they haven't listened to the whole podcast, go into it with like a whole new appreciation and go, oh wow, like that's what she did. Like that's a lot of effort.
Yeah, and you know what though, it is effort, but I would say like in doing it, I knew that people would say, I kind of want to see what they look like. So at the same time, I would ship Brenna parts of the script to do as if she was vlogging to camera, right? So, because I knew I was going to leverage it on Twitter. I did them on TikTok to clear the music, the copyright of the music, and then post it to Twitter because you know that if you put a podcast out, you've got your podcast on Spotify and everything. It's a tree in the forest, really, if you don't have another platform that's filtering it into that. Exactly. So I knew Twitter would be the one that drove it into the podcast world because similar people, Twitter and Spotify have similar listeners.
Yeah.
Sort of
it's been a very long time since I've really been on Twitter. I got to the point it just like annoyed me doing all these different platforms. It gets overwhelming.
Well, you're on so many platforms, right? Like I can't do Instagram. I can't do TikTok. I can't do them all. Twitter works because it has a business component to it. So I can use it like almost like email. You know, you can get right back and forth to people who are listening. And I have to tell you, like, it has shocked us because so your conversion rate on Twitter is your followers versus the number of impressions, right? Yeah. We have no followers. We're like a business account, right? We have 155 followers, but we have 800,000 impressions. And we have 270,000. Like your video of the game at the end, the two game, that's 16,500 views.
Woo!
That's
girls.
Right. And like one of the audio clips has 60,000 listens.
Wow.
Like, you know what I mean? So it's been really good for us for sure.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, happy to help in any way I can.
Yeah, for sure.
So did you help with the editing or was that your the guy that you mentioned earlier?
Yeah, so Justin, so basically what I did was I would send him the script with detailed notes. Like he used to joke because I'd say, I've sent you a couple notes and it'd be like 18 pages of notes, right? So I would highlight everything and say like this time code. Then he would assemble it and I'd go in and we'd split and split and split. And then he'd finally send the finished product and I would drop it into Audacity, which is a free audio sound, and then I would, even from there, I chop it even more. Because again, it's audio, it's got to be rapid fire. Pauses don't really work. So, and then for Twitter and all of the other places where I'm doing promotion of it, I completely remaster it because I didn't realize that you can't swear on so many of these things. I had no idea that it picks it up in the algorithm and bans it. So
I still can't believe how sneaky it is.
I know, I was surprised. And I'm a huge swearer. Like Brenna's character swears a lot, right? So I was like, oh no, how do I take out the swearing? It's a lot of swearing. So I've had to go in and like, exactly, change it to the beep. Thank you. To the beep of recording. It goes boop. Exactly. That's what it is.
So people know it's there, but they don't hear it. Yeah.
Exactly. They're okay with it. Jessica's fan base, because it's Heartland, one of them had sent a message saying, ooh, I have to clean my Heartland ears out to listen to this show. And I was like, no, Jessica only swears once, and it's when she's high. And she doesn't swear for the rest of the show, so don't worry.
Just Brenna.
Yeah, that's right. Just her daughter.
No, but at least it means that if it's bleeped out, all ages can listen as well. So, yeah.
Also, honestly, I thought we were so past that.
Right? Yeah, exactly. In this
Who
day
knew?
and age, come on.
Yeah.
Well, you probably did hear me ask the other girls this when I was interviewing them, but I wanted to know where the name Stream Queen came from because it does sound very similar ring to that TV show Scream Queens. And I thought, well, Brenna really wants to scream at her mother, I guess. Like maybe it it connects.
I wish, Lauren, it was that interesting. It is literally my 21-year-old son, Kenzie, was sitting on the couch and I said, I want to have a vlogging. The word vlog is so bad. It's like, well, it has nothing to it. And I was saying, she's not really streaming yet. She streams later in the series. I wanted to have I wanted to have veracity. I didn't want to say Stream Queen, which wasn't streaming. And he was one who said, well, like, why don't you go Stream Queen? I was like, done.
Something
Listen,
so
I take from everyone around me. I have my other son was upstairs, like, work from home on Monday, and he's in finance. Like he's totally busy. And I said, I need a really excitable, energetic Zumba teacher. The Zumba teacher is my son. Like I was like, you're recording this. So he was like, what am I doing? I don't know. Like I've got 5-minute break. And I'm going, okay, here's your lines. He's like, all right, let's go. Did a perfect
And he's
job.
in finance.
Yeah, and he's in finance. The funny thing is my husband is actually an actor. He's been in everything. He's in Star Trek, Aliens. Like you've seen him in a million things. And I had him try it. I was like, sorry, no, we're not buying that you're a Zumba teacher. So the real actor got the boot. Bring in the finance guy.
And how about like the guy that plays the boyfriend, and obviously the French lady
Yeah.
on the phone too. Like, oh
yeah.
love the French accent.
The guy who plays Ruckus, the boyfriend. So how old do you think that voice is?
Oh, well,
It's like a
I was kind of
smoky
guessing
husky.
like the kind of mid-20s sort of thing because of Brenna's character.
Yeah,
Totally
he's
not
a
that age.
20-year-old friend of my younger son, and he has the most incredible natural voice. His name is Patrick Desmond, and he sounds like this naturally. And he was literally over hanging out in the backyard with my son. I was like, hey, Patty, do you want to come inside? And I'm going to give you some line reads. So I did. I gave him a couple line reads. He did it perfectly. And I was like, bye, thanks. And then the French woman, because in Canada, we have a lot of Quebecois, but it really is a different accent than Parisian. And I needed that Parisian French. So again, a friend who's a woman named Debbie, who's in Paris, she literally recorded it without any context and sent it to me.
Wow.
And I know, I'm not joking. And the woman on the phone who lends her the money, she is a family member who's also an actress, but again, totally out of context. It's like if I just said to you, Lauren, can you just say this? I don't want to. Hand me the pencil. And then you just send me that and I put it in. It works so well, you can't believe it.
Wow. It's
Yeah.
good you've got so many connections with people that have
Yeah.
really good voices. Like I hope maybe,
I know they did a great job, right?
who knows, maybe your son's friend might get into a little bit of acting now because, yeah, it was totally
It's
believable.
literally what he's saying. He's literally saying he's thinking about doing voice work. At the top of your show, you've got, almost kind of like house music, right?
Yes.
At the top of your show. That is so funny because I picked a copy-free house music that one of my sons said, this is perfect where to find this house music. Because I said, I want it to feel like she wishes she was at a rave. I'm not kidding. She wishes she was at a rave, but she never, but she never actually leaves her kitchen. So she's living kind of in this false world of like, I'm always at the party, I'm always woo, but really it's like, I'm always just in my kitchen. And so finding house music was really fun. But then I was listening to your show recently and I was going, I don't think I ever connected that you have kind of house music at the top of yours too.
Yeah.
Right?
Because I wanted it to be like, party, rave.
Yeah.
Like people always think that and they're like, oh, she just like maybe interview DJs all the time and things like that. I'm like, no, it's got nothing to do with that. It's just everyone I interview has something that they want to rave about,
Right.
Their passion or whatever, their projects. Yeah. So not even related to raves and partying and dancing.
Yeah. And my thought was the exact opposite, which was she has to kind of live in this fantasy world that she's out with everyone and she's super hip and she's at the club, but really she's not in any club whatsoever. She's in her pajamas, doing some facial peel on her vlog to 600 people, right?
And making little babies and stuff.
Come on. That was
Reborn
world.
I was just like, what is going on in this episode?
Have you seen that world of Reborn? I mean,
no. Kind of sounds a bit
Google
creepy, to be honest.
Seriously, Google it. So when I did the research on it, I mean, I understand the therapeutic version of it for anyone watching who's got a reborn doll for therapeutic reasons. I get it all. But it really was such an interesting world. And I sent it to Brenna and she just was like, there's no way this is real. There's just no way. And I was like, no, there is. This is real. So, we didn't do beauty vloggers for a reason because they're much more confident than my character. Beauty vloggers, they're selling products. They really, they're a totally different type of vlogger. And so I needed her to be a bit more insecure. So oh my gosh. It was fantastic. Google that after.
How did you even hear about it? Like through your sons or?
I know. You know what? I'm so obsessed with research that when I came across this family that was going to a Walmart. And have you ever seen this website called People of Walmart?
No,
So,
but I do love Walmart. Love it.
Maybe you're on it. You don't know.
Maybe
so
I need to.
Walmart, is people who were caught at Walmart, maybe looking somewhat, unique. Let's call it unique, right? So there was a family going to Walmart with their 3 kids, and I was like, oh, their 3 kids don't seem to be moving much. And it turned out they had 3 reborns, a baby, a toddler, and a 5-year-old. And they were strollers, the whole thing. And they were like, oh, people love it. They love talking to our family and stuff. And I think, what is going on?
They're not real.
They're dolls. What's happening? And the husband was like, we're going to buy. They were shopping for them. They were shopping for clothing for them and everything. I was like, I need to dig into this. And so it was it was perfect. It was a perfect fit.
And what, the 5-year-old even walks and everything, or are they just?
No, the 5-year-old was attached to the back of the stroller on one of those standing platforms. Like, they were buying her sun hats.
Oh my gosh! You might as well just be shopping with like the mannequins.
This is what exactly like a mannequin guy. Exactly.
Very, very creepy. All right, moving on. I don't know if I want to research it now, Hayley. I'm like,
once you're in, you're going to be deep. You're going to be down the rabbit hole. You're going to give up your show. You're going to start a reborn collection. It's all going to happen.
Thanks. I'm going to blame you. Well, I got to say congratulations too, because the stat might have changed since we last spoke, but when you did tell me it was like sitting number 15 out of fictional podcasts just in Australia. So congratulations, and I'm hoping to help a little bit more in that regard.
Thank you. Australia's number 3 it's Canada, the United States, and Australia.
Oh, love it.
What is that? Well, there's a connection. You know what I think though? Canada's always had a connection. First of all, the Commonwealth, obviously, but a connection humor-wise. Australians we always say, they're like Canadians, only they like their beer more. Right?
Yes.
And we like our beer. So there is a connection humor-wise, right?
Well, it is funny, like ever since like interviewing Jessica and a lot of the Heartland cast, where Canada is even sitting in with my podcast. I think even though I'm Australian and it started off with all the Australian fans, I think Australia's sitting number 3 with me too. It's, Canada and Philippines and America and then Australia. I'm like,
well, I think it comes down for us to irony and satire, right? I can tell from even your interviews and everything, it's unvarnished humor. It's not precious. It's not PC. It's really, it's a completely open platform. And I think, honestly, satire is a huge part of it. So that's why, I don't know if you love British shows. Like, I love British humor. I love Australian humor. And then I realized, I think that just aligns with Canadian humor too,
Oh, it's interesting. Never thought of it that way.
Yeah.
Now, can we expect more episodes too? What's happening in the future? Are you wanting to make it a little bit more of a filmed thing too?
Yeah, so I have season 2 already done. I already know what happens in season 2, and because I didn't, don't kill the main characters, right? So the mom, something happens to her, but she's still in the stratosphere, and of course, that mom is just, she's just going to wreak havoc on that woman's life. So they end up in a situation where they end up vlogging together, and it's just the worst case scenario for Brenna's character, for Kayla, but the mother loves it because she couldn't be happier. They do reconnect with Kayla's birth dad, who happens to be, because there's a mention about the eyes a lot, and Brenna has incredibly blue eyes, right? So does Jessica, though. And so at one point the mother goes, where you got those? I don't know. The daughter goes, you mean my eyes? And she goes, I thought you said my birth dad. And she goes, I did? Oh. So we sort of hinted that the mom's not going to cop to who the birth dad is, right? Because it comes down to the mother probably, she got around. And so the father ends up being one of those old school, like slap chop infomercial guys. And he seeks them out. So there's like a little story arc in there of the father returning, but just like the mother, he is there to take advantage of the daughter's followers. Like the daughter was raised by 2 big narcissists, right? So there's that. And then we are filming like a trailer or a teaser to shop it. So we've had some interest. So I kind of want to show how we're going to film it, because my vision of filming it, if you think of all the shows that show vlogging or anything like that, they don't really achieve it. you pop into that kind of like photoshopped fake. Like, when they do FaceTime in a movie and you go, oh my gosh, that looks terrible. That doesn't look like real FaceTime. I want it to look real. So I did some testing where I took the phone and flipped it and panned the camera through. So the audience is two people. The audience is the viewer just watching a normal show, but they're also the follower. So Kayla gets to break the fourth wall comedically in her vlog. So, oh my God, Lauren, it looks so good. I can't tell you.
I can't wait.
As you're watching the mother do all her stuff with her and talking to her, you also get this other lens where the daughter can be what to the audience, right? And the follower gets that sympathetic thing of saying, God, this is a nightmare for this person I follow, but also they love it. And then we get the outside of it. Mm-hmm. It is a really interesting filmic process. And I'm kind of surprised it hasn't been done before, to be honest.
Yeah, of course.
I don't know why it hasn't been done, but we tested it and oh my gosh, like I showed it to my kids because they're the test, right? Because they're the age group of this. And there was a pause and my older son said, don't show that to anyone. And I thought he meant because it's so bad. And he went, that's fantastic. And I was like, oh, that's good. That's a good sign. That's a good sign.
Yeah. For them to like it.
Exactly. So yeah, so, oh my gosh, yes. So I'm going to go down to LA in January and stay with Jessica, and Brenna lives there, and I'm going to film it. And then we're also doing a companion piece. Sort of like, I won't say what social media platform, but we're doing a series on a social media platform called It's Your Mother. And it's a companion piece of the mother responding to the criticism of the daughter. And I've written like 25 of those episodes because they're a minute each. Cool. And they are hilarious. Jessica is basically, it's like everything. Is your mom with us?
Yeah, yes.
Okay. So I don't know if you are constantly suggesting to your mom ways for her to better her life or improve herself.
Of course. Right? Isn't that
so
just like, it's payback because they did it to us.
Now, what if your mom had the platform to be like, all right, Lauren, thanks for the tips. I did what you said, and this is the result, right? Yes. So that's basically what it is. It's the mom taking all the advice of a millennial daughter and showing what it really turns out as. Right? I
love it. Oh my goodness. And that's just gonna be a little side thing.
Yeah, I think they're calling them now. Like I saw The Crown. The series The Crown is now doing an audio podcast of the series. So they're going backwards and they're calling it a companion piece. So now I'm starting to see this a lot where they call it a companion piece where they've got these different versions on different channels of ways to access the characters and storylines. So yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, it gives the fans a little bit more of a taste when they're trying.
It's also infinite, right? You can come up with anything. Like, you've got all the. You've got the book, you've got the channel, you've got the website, you've got the thing, you totally
got more stuff coming next year too. I'm working on it right now, during the holidays. So hopefully in the new year, February.
Is the book an audio book too? Did you do an audio of the book? Yeah,
yes,
I didn't get a chance to look that up.
Because I thought, well, it'd be, I already have pretty much all the answers to those questions already recorded from interviews. So I just grabbed snippets of all of them. And then if it wasn't recorded and it was more just maybe a written Q&A, that I would record it myself. So yeah.
Right. See?
Coming off.
Exactly the same, right? So did did you edit it together yourself?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
See?
I know. I do everything.
Cheers.
What can I say? Yes. Cheers. Good time to have a bit of a sip of water. Yeah, but and it's good. Like when just before COVID, when I was doing way more actual in-person interviews. Like right now, it's a lot of Zoom, which I am loving too. Yes. But I did have a cameraman to help me and everything, and it did really take the pressure off that I didn't have to worry about that. I could just focus on the interview. But now it's back to filming it myself, editing it myself, and
the plus side of that is that you get to go to other countries, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If you weren't doing Zoom, then you're stuck with who you can just see physically, which is completely limits your scope.
Well, especially when we were in lockdown for so long here in Sydney, and twice, that I could still work at home and didn't have to go out. Even I was interviewing people in Sydney that I couldn't go see because of lockdown. So it worked really well.
You guys had a big lockdown, right? You guys had one of the toughest for sure.
Yeah, it was pretty much like, you're allowed to just go out, exercise for like 30 minutes to an hour and come back home.
Tell me, is it an urban myth or is it like, was it exaggerated? Are there police drones in the major cities in Australia?
That was pretty much like a whole thing. I think that was just the media.
I saw it and I was like, did that really happen? I don't know.
If there was, I never saw one.
You never saw them, right?
Yeah, but they were, when it was really strict lockdown, they were very strict on it. And if you were just out, they could see that you weren't exercising, then some fines were actually given, which was like totally stupid. Everyone will agree. Yeah, exactly.
I'm running. I'm just slow.
I'm sitting on a park bench because I am exhausted. I did a big run.
I'm stretching my Achilles.
Yeah, exactly. So, just for the audience, if they haven't actually heard of you before, I love doing my research on you because obviously I actually didn't know about you before this project.
Right.
That you are also an actor yourself. So when did the whole writing process come into it? Was that always a plan? Do you still do a bit of acting now? Still auditioning on the side?
Yeah, no. So when I graduated from university, I came out with a degree in philosophy, and you don't actually like walk into the philosophy store and get a job. So I wanted to be an actor anyway. And so I'd gone to LA for a bit. And, in Canada, we have a lot of work, but to be honest, after doing like Guest Star on the X-Files and Kung Fu and all the de rigueur of my era, by the time I was 30, it had really run its course. It wasn't like, oh my God, is Hayley available? She's not. What? And I also really love production. So I'd gone into production, and I really was working with one of the biggest producers at the time, a gentleman named Don Carmody. So we did Resident Evil and Precinct 13, a whole bunch of really huge tier A films that I got to watch and, how it's done, first of all, but also learn from all the key departments. You really get an inside view of it, which was great. It also allowed me to do my own films at that time, short films, because I had access to 35 millimeter cameras, and it was just incredible experience. But then SARS hit Canada, and then there was a double strike, and I'm in a double family in the same industry, and it was reckless, right? To have children and have two people in the film business when a business can shut down. So my other love was always technology. So I went into technology full steam ahead, and then, raised my kids and whatever. And I always said that once I launched them, I will take all the technology that I know and go back to take the writing with the technology, combine it. So then COVID hit. It was perfect. What am I going to do from 5 until midnight and every weekend? So I wrote the series, and I had finally all the technical knowledge to do it entirely myself. So that was huge. I don't think I could have done it because I think I used 11 different platforms to put this together. Whoa. If I wasn't in technology, because all of the marketing, everything you see, it's all done by me. So, it was it just was fascinating putting it all together, and then foreseeing, with content, you've got to have a lot of content. Even after the series is done, you have to have all this content to market it. And that's really separate to the piece. So I had to have audio content. I had to have visual content. I had to film content. I had to have it all. So it really was a perfect storm in a sense of knowledge. But technology wise, I've had some people say, actually, I think now I'm going to do that. I love what you've done. And I can't believe it worked. And then I show them the platforms, and they're like, what? Like, I can't do this. It's too much. But otherwise, you have to, as the minute you introduce someone else, you introduce conflict, creative conflict. And it's in that vision process, that is. So I just wanted to go, let me make this myself and see if it works. That was really the goal. And I knew I had these fantastic actresses. The part that everyone worries about was a done deal. What are the chances of having these two extraordinary performers take material and just blow it up, right? So the rest of the job was just on me to get it out there and, contact people like yourself and get it out online and constantly be working on the back end of that. So, and no, I would never act again.
You're loving it.
No, I can't imagine. That would be awful.
Well, I can see you're really passionate about this side of things, so it really doesn't matter about the acting. A lot of people want to
Yes.
get in front of the camera, but there's still so many cool jobs behind it, you know?
Well, also creating it, right? I mean, writing it is the most exciting thing. People think writing is very solitary. To me, I'm living with these two characters while I'm writing it. And I love them. First of all, it's comedy. So life is good. Like we're laughing. This is not a murder mystery. This isn't, this isn't a war movie. These women are funny, right? So they kind of ended up, when I was trying to figure out, I don't know if you ever saw Charlie, I showed today. Anyway, some of the vloggers crying on camera. There's one girl that did a full crying for 3 months on camera. And I was really fascinated by it. Yeah. So she does this whole vlog on crying and breaking up and whatever. And I contacted Brenna and I said, listen, in one of the episodes, you're going to go through a huge breakup. And I need you to be the girl who records it. I need you to be the girl who goes, hold on, I'm going to turn the music on. I'm going to curate this. I'm going to cry on camera. And her response is, oh, I'm so happy. When I was young, I used to love crying in front of the mirror and taking pictures of myself crying. This is perfect. She did such a good job. We didn't need another take. We filmed it. It's perfection to the point where people think it's real. Like if you look on Twitter at that sort of ad for it, episode 5, so many people contact us and are like, this is really upsetting. What happened? Did she get back together? I'm like, guys, it's a comedy. It's clean. But she was so good at it. So that stuff has been really fun to create, to come up with something and go, do you think you can handle this? And they go, yeah, I love that. It's perfect.
Do you ever get writer's block then? Or you just seem like you're always getting new ideas?
How can you get writer's block with what people are vlogging about? I mean, it's impossible because people vlog about everything. Also, the real timeness of vlogging takes the pressure off the writing. Because if you ever watch someone's live stream, if you anyone, I won't name anyone, but you watch it, they'll literally go like this. Hey, hold on a second. And they're off camera, getting their coffee and, getting the dog in the leash. There's no sense of needing to perform in a period of time, in a frame, and deliver content. Everything is kind of fluid, which is why I think it's so attractive. You feel like you're living with them. You're hanging with, Kelsey Kreppel in her kitchen cooking.
Yeah.
It's like that kind of friend bond. That takes the pressure off writing because now you go, well, that's obvious what people like. They like everyday life,
Yeah. And you can just make it really, really casual.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
You've done a fantastic job. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
I can't wait for more people to listen to it. And I'm really looking forward to some future ones too. So please keep me up to date with that.
I will. We've got something good in the cooker.
I did want to talk about, because you did mention Resident Evil and Assault on Precinct 13 and everything.
Yeah.
And even Wrong Turn as well. With projects like that,
yes.
Writing, because you just said writing for comedy, really easy. What is it like writing for something like horror or thriller? Is that totally different type of writing?
I was totally on the production side of that. I was in the executive side. I was in so there's two. I worked with Don Carmody in the executive office, and then in LA, I worked for Davis Panzer, which did Highlander and those series on the business acquisition side. So writers would come into us and they would pitch their story. So never on the writing side of that, always on the acquisition on the business side, which was fantastic because, you got to meet, you got to see it from that perspective of what they pick up and what they want to do and why we don't see, until the internet, which sounds ridiculous, until YouTube, you didn't see a lot of variety in films. You had to go to some film festival to see some foreign film or some indie, right? Because production houses did what was easiest, just did what was familiar. So I'm super lucky to have seen the transition from working in LA in my 30s out into the internet to being able to put anything out there, right? Before, you had to get permission from the top 5 people to make anything, right? Even this podcast, we were saying, if this was 10 years ago, I'd have to get some radio, station to finance and approve a radio play, right? That's how it would have been done. It's totally different now.
And have like probably record it in the booth and everything too. That would have been.
Yeah. And also you'd have to, it would be, that's why the same 5 people did everything. Now, there's like these different planets running. There's the traditional, and then there's people who haven't watched TV in a decade and they consume everything online. Like, I don't know, do you watch television anymore?
Not really, because we have Netflix.
Yeah. Right?
Right, that's
exactly.
the new TV I've found.
That's right, exactly. You're getting your content elsewhere for sure.
Well, especially in these days when when you buy a TV now, they've got it all hooked up. You just
That's right.
log into your Netflix now on the TV. Like, I love how much it's advanced instead of having to say watch it on your laptop or get a Chromecast and cast it to the TV.
If you think about, like, remember that show Lost? You'd go, I have to wait for Thursday night to see Lost. That was such a foreign concept now. Television is really for sports and maybe not who gets news there, but sports and news, and everything else is streaming, everything. Yeah. And it's on demand. And again, that sort of illustration I was saying where millennials won't suffer anything. They're not going to wait till Thursday to watch Lost. They're going to crush all 8 episodes of Obsession tonight, Succession tonight, right?
Oh. So sometimes I've found with a few Netflix shows I've been watching lately, they're like, okay, yep, you got to wait till next week now for the next episode. I'm like, what?
Yeah, what? Actually,
I haven't done that since I was a kid.
That's a really good point, because someone was saying to me when I was releasing them, are you going to release one a week? I said, we're not Marvel. No, we're nobody. We're going to do all 8 at the same, all 5 at the same time. And then hopefully people will find us with a lot of marketing, right? But absolutely, we're going to have them all at the same time, because
they just want to binge it.
Yeah, exactly. Get the story done.
Binging about audio? I think so. I've never really looked into that. Yeah, okay, good.
No. In fact, I can give you
audio
statistics on that, actually, that 80% of all of our listeners have listened to the first 3 in the first sitting. 80%.
I think I did too, yeah. They're easy enough to do when you're driving.
Yeah.
I just did it all when I was driving.
Exactly. When you're driving. Exactly.
Yeah. It's the best place for me to listen to podcasts because I won't listen to it any other time.
It's kind of the only place, right?
Yeah. As you said, it's not something I'd listen to while making dinner or anything,
Yeah.
And then when I'm eating, I want to watch something.
Yeah, that's right. That's true. I know. Yeah. It's a limited time frame of when you can do it. Yeah. And that has its limitations. So that's why we want to adapt it for the screen as well.
Absolutely. Well, before we finish off today, I know, you don't want to get back into acting, but I do want to talk about your film that you were in, Ernest in the Army, which was you were actually, technically his girlfriend.
His first girlfriend.
It was, told me it was like a really fun shoot. So I kind of wanted to ask about that today. Please tell us about it.
All right. First of all, it was shot in South Africa.
Wow.
And yeah, so we were on the dunes in South Africa, and I was living in LA at the time, so flew to South Africa, which it's such an extravagant trip. I knew I would never go again. Let's put it that way. So I really wanted to, really explore South Africa. We did a lot of traveling, a lot of fun. The people were incredible. I cannot say enough about the people that we worked with. Jim Varney, who has since passed away, I had only seen him in certain Ernest films, but really I hadn't seen a lot. But I did know the character, obviously, because he had done a lot of he's like, in Canada, there's a lot of commercials. I don't know if it's the same for you guys, where he would do these like, hey, Vern, these commercials, right? So I knew him as that. So the very first time I met him was a scene where I'm like tied to a tent pole and he comes in to rescue me. So they had the camera on me first. But he's not there yet. It's being acted by the AD. So the AD is going like, you okay, Cindy? And I'm responding to that energy. So I'm going, yeah, I'm okay. Cut to turning around on Jim Varney. He's like, hey, Cindy, what's going on? He's like, fisheye lensing, the whole thing. And I'm going, whoa, can I redo my entire take? I look like I'm on a different movie. Yeah. I had no idea what was going to happen. So I actually, even though I'm in a lot of scenes with him, he actually isn't really there in most of them.
Talk about movie magic.
Yeah, anytime that it was turned around, he was somewhere else. He was sitting in his trailer. He was with his people, which is fine. It's totally fine. But it was really hard to go, can someone match his energy? Because his energy was incredible. Like, he was through the roof. Yeah, it was an amazing place. And I mean, The regulations, there were none. We were kite sailing off the dunes. Like now you can't do any of that stuff if you're in a film, right? You can't get hurt. Like, I can't even tell you what we did. It was so ridiculous.
Didn't have the stunt doubles.
Oh no, there were no stunt doubles for sure. There was no stunt doubles, and there was so much. I mean, I'm using a semi-automatic machine gun in it, right? And there's hanging out of an armored truck as we went down dunes. I mean, I don't think they have anyone do that nowadays, right? Like there was a plexiglass, and I don't know what was in that semi-automatic, but things were popping off it, and I thought we were going to roll because one of the trucks rolled because it is sand dunes, and it was pretty out there, but it was a great time. It was really fun.
Something you'll never forget, right? As long as you didn't hurt yourself.
That's right.
Yeah.
And also Nelson Mandela was still on Robben's Island at the time. And so they did a tour where you went on a catamaran around Robben's Island. You got to see it and everything. So it was pretty interesting historically too, to be there at that time, because apartheid had ended. And I mean, it was a pretty reckless time in South Africa at the time.
I was going to say, did you kind of miss those experiences with the acting? But I guess you technically still get that a little bit with directing, producing, writing.
Yeah, not really. I really don't, because, the opportunity, unless you're, I don't know, Angelina Jolie or Margot Robbie, the opportunity to be that busy, and it's so rare, obviously not my experience. And I want to be super busy. I want to be incredibly creative. I want to be constantly executing. I'm not a big fan of, I'm standing right now. I'm not a big fan of sitting down and that kind of stuff. So it just wasn't going to be for me. And so it worked out great. You know what I mean? Like I think that if you're the top 5 actors and getting work all the time, I bet it's still not enough for them. I bet they wish they were doing more,
Absolutely. And at least now you really get to create what you want to create, right?
That's right. That's right. And there's no, like the word no doesn't exist.
Yeah.
So
keep going. You're like, fine, next person.
Exactly. So next, well, actually you just end up producing it. You just end up doing it, which is fantastic.
Oh, I can't wait to see what you do in the future, Hayley.
Thank you.
You're a workaholic, but you really exude that passion and that love for it. Which...
Lauren, I love you saying that. Have you seen your own website?
Yes.
I mean, what?
That's like 12 years of work right there.
The banner down the side. See the book. Go to the website. Go to this podcast.
Why don't I do?
Yeah, exactly. And then to hear that you're also a dance instructor is, come on. So,
yes. I was like just prepping for my class for tonight just before we logged on.
Is that your permanent dance partner?
Yeah, and also my life partner. So
it is. Oh,
yeah. And we live together, so we practice all the time.
I loved it. Oh my gosh, I love you guys dancing in that restaurant. The freeze frame that I sent you, it's like you guys are living a different life than everyone in that restaurant. They're all like going, well, how do we get to be that? Yeah. Freeze frame when your partner dips you.
It's like
the women in the back.
We're just like this fantasy world, and they're just eating dinner.
Like they're in a fever dream, right? They're in a restaurant, in come 2 really good looking people who are dipping each other. I said it to Jessica, I was like, please only watch the people in the restaurant. Do not watch the dancers, because it is a movie in itself.
Well, it's funny too, because that family had just come in, like it was our last performance of the evening, and they had just come in. Apparently they were there the week before, and when they came in, I was like, wow, they look really familiar. And they came up going, yep, we've just come in again tonight just to see you guys. We're not really here to eat, but we want to just watch you again.
Really?
And we're like, oh, thank you. So the very fact that you got that screenshot, I was like, oh yes, I remember them. They came in just to
I also can't believe you can dance like 2 feet from someone.
Yeah.
Who's not dancing. Like I get it at a wedding, you're beside someone, whatever. But people are sitting right there. Like that takes some
We work, very well. We figure out where everybody is, Well, this has been so much fun, Hayley. I was wondering, I know we only said about 45 minutes, but did you want to play that 2-minute hot seat game?
I'm ready. No, I'm ready to win. I'm ready to win.
That's what I thought. but I was like,
I saw you were interviewing Laura, the singer.
yes.
The Laura. Yeah, and that you said that the Zoom record was 69.
Let me have a look now. Let's see if it's changed since then.
Because I think she scored 65, right?
60. The top of the Zoom Rave It Up leaderboard, 63 actually. She answered 56. So yeah, oh, you're really up to date with my interviews, aren't you?
I'm ready.
That was only just put up.
This is going to be entirely up to how fast you can read. I'm ready, Lauren. Let's go.
Okay. Well, because I thought, even though we've been talking for a while, I thought maybe you probably want to play the game because you want to beat the other girls, right?
Yeah. So Brenna beat Jessica. She got 49 and she guessed it.
Yes.
Okay.
Well,
so I have to tell you about Brenna.
Brenna 39.
Yeah. Oh, what was Jessica?
39. Oh, sorry, 49 Jessica, 39 Brenna. There were 10 questions out. And 63.
But you know that's because Jessica, if you say to her, like, you know, do you want a tea or a coffee? She'll be like, oh gosh, I gotta think about the migrant workers with the coffee, but is the tea from you're amazed you got 39 out of her. Whereas Brenna is a math person. She is like a math wizard. Like she tutors high level like calculus and things like that.
Wow.
She's a math person. Even though she went to Tisch in New York, like, which is like the great drama school, she's a math girl.
Huh. Didn't know that. All right.
Mm-hmm. I'm ready. Let's go.
I was like, I hope you haven't been like practicing.
Practicing.
Practicing. Is that, I don't know. You watch my interviews a lot. Here we go. Let me just change the view on the camera so we can see us both. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Facebook or Instagram?
Instagram.
iPhone or Samsung?
iPhone.
Apple or Android?
Apple.
Rock or pop music?
Pop.
Pop or country?
Pop.
Cook or clean?
Oh, clean.
Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Comedy or action?
Comedy.
Blondes or brunettes?
Redheads.
Sweet or salty?
Salty.
Mac or PC?
Mac.
Singing or dancing?
Dance.
Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Italian or Chinese food?
Italian.
Summer or winter?
Winter.
Jennifer Lopez or Scarlett Johansson?
Garjo.
Johnny Depp or Will Smith?
Johnny Depp.
Mall or online shopping?
Online.
Cinema or home movie?
Home movie.
Ice cream or gelato?
Gelato.
Cake or cookies?
Cookies.
Coffee or tea?
Coffee.
Christmas or your birthday?
Christmas.
Night or day?
Day.
Bus or train?
Bus.
Straight or curly hair?
Curly.
Eye color blue or brown?
Green.
Driver or passenger?
Driver.
Texting or calling?
Text.
LA or New York?
New York.
Friday or Saturday?
Saturday.
TV or movies?
Movies.
Movies or books?
Books.
Fiction or non-fiction books?
Fiction.
Snow or surf?
No.
Harry Potter or Twilight?
Twilight.
Family Guy or The Simpsons?
Family Guy.
Burger or pizza?
Pizza.
Tomato sauce or barbecue sauce? Or
Tomato.
ketchup? Sneakers or thongs?
Sneakers.
Leather or denim?
Denim.
City or country?
City.
Biting your nails or picking your nose?
Oh, biting.
Pants or shorts?
Pants.
Tattoos or piercings?
Piercings.
Backpack or suitcase?
Suitcase.
Ice cream or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Pen or pencil?
Pencil.
Mum or dad?
Dad.
Headphones or speakers?
Headphones.
Book or magazine?
Book.
Photo or video?
Photo.
Apple or orange?
Orange.
Fruit or vegetables?
Fruit.
Chocolate or strawberry?
Chocolate.
Chocolate dark milk or white?
Oh, neither.
And we're out of time.
Was the last one chocolate milk?
Chocolate dark milk or white?
Oh, milk or white. Yeah, neither. Pencil, like for real, like no
You're
joke.
holding one.
Not only am I holding one, this is like my workspace. I don't have pens.
Wow.
I only use pens. I don't use pens at all.
Yeah, you need to write on scripts and things like that. That totally makes sense.
Yeah, I'm a pencil gal. Okay, what did I get? Did I beat my team?
Do you think you beat the girls?
I don't know if I beat
Which means
Greta.
you think you got over 49.
I don't know. I think I'm close. I'm gonna say 40. I'm gonna say 47.
47? Oh, okay. So you still think Brenna beat you?
I feel like she did.
I'm happy to say you beat them both. Woo!
Yes,
You've answered
girl.
56 questions. Woo! Go, Hayley. Go, Hayley.
I'm going to write that down with my pencil.
56 questions. And you were sitting, let me have a look. You've answered
Where am I
exactly
sitting?
you've answered the exact same amount of questions as Lara. So the last girl I interviewed. So you're sitting out of Zoom Rave It Up leaderboard number 5.
Yes. I was
Yes.
laughing because she said mom, and you'd said, and your dad just walked into the room, right?
So funny. So funny.
That's a funny question though. If someone asked you mom or dad, what do you say first?
It's I'd probably say mom, but I think that's just
Right.
natural, isn't it?
You know, it's so
But now
funny
being
that
older,
Brenna
I
said,
I'm
like
close
when
to
she
my
said
dad.
mom and she burst out laughing, her dad is a, pretty famous actor. He's on Sons of Anarchy, and he's a famous actor. And he is her biggest fan. So when she said mom and burst out laughing, it's because she knew his fan base would see that and go, what? Yeah, what?
Well, it's funny. I'm an only child, so I'm very close to both my parents. And like growing
Right.
up, I was really close to my mom. And now that I'm older, I like hang out with my dad way more. So I think the relationship
Right.
there has like changed, where I'm still, mama's little girl there.
Yeah, and so do they
hard.
listen to your show? Do they watch your show?
Oh, they're my number one fans. They
I bet.
especially when I was in radio, they always listened live every single week. Never would miss it. Podcasts are a little bit different just because they need to actually go on Spotify, for example, and go have a listen to it. But they'll always my mum tends to actually watch the YouTube videos more because she's on the
Right.
computer, so she's like, I'm gonna go put my daughter on and have a look.
Aw, I like that.
Yeah, they love it. And I give a lot of credit to them for Rave It Up, especially like mum actually came up with the name Rave It Up. So when people ask
See,
about
it's
it,
always somebody like,
it
that's
was
what I'm
mum.
saying. You just go, what do you think I should? Your mom did.
Yeah,
right?
my mum did, and they've always both, because they're entrepreneurs themselves. I've just been raised around entrepreneurs, so they're always like,
Right.
go do what you love, don't worry about money, just do your passion and the money will come. And they always said those boring 9-to-5 jobs will always be there,
Yeah. But
You
you
wanna
know,
wake
also
up every
probably
morning
they
loving what you
raised
do.
you, like they raised you in an environment where you were allowed to think that way anyway. That was just part of the language, is
Absolutely.
probably what you're saying, right? There wasn't a constant thing of, when are you going to nail this down? When
Yeah, you have to be in
It's like,
that rat race,
exactly. It's a fluid. Also, creativity is very fluid. Everything's creative, right? Every industry you're in has creativity. And now it used to be cradle to grave, 9 to 5. What do you do? People do everything now. People, the surgeon writes the #1 book in Canada. He wins the Geller Prize. He's a surgeon. I'm sure that he's not a terrible surgeon. I'm sure he's able to do both. Right. So I think that times have really changed. We are so lucky to be in this time, honestly.
Yeah. Anybody can write a book. Anybody can record a podcast these days.
That's right.
Go do it, guys.
I totally agree.
But we are unfortunately getting to the end of the interview now,
Yes.
Hayley. But I think you know what's coming. As a closing statement, was probably the most important question here on Rave It Up. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell your 14-year-old self?
I would think just don't worry so much. When you hit your 20s, it just isn't as urgent as you think. I think when you're in your early 20s, you're convinced it's all over by 24. So you know what I'm saying? Like, when you're in your early 20s. Yeah, exactly. It's like, but I would say, when you're 14, it's a much longer road than you thought it was going to be.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
Because I think these days, everyone, especially us women, we're given times of change where we want to really have a career, have it all, and we really want to get it all done before we have kids. But, you've shown you can really juggle it, girl. Love it.
Do it all. You can do it all for sure. And actually, my 14-year-old self wouldn't listen, so it wouldn't matter what I told them.
I have had people say that before. They're like, would it matter? Would they listen to me? Probably not.
They wouldn't
what do
listen
you
because they
know?
go, I can't listen to you. You're old.
Yeah, what would you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully, though, some of the young listeners today take that on board too. Don't stress so much,
Totally.
stress way
And
too
also, oh my God, all I can say is we have so much to learn from all generations, from all ages of women out there. There's so much, everyone has something to offer, you know?
Absolutely. Become friends with people from all different ages. You know, I have a lot of
Exactly.
people older than me as friends,
Yeah.
and I love it because, well, not only it gets rid of that drama of the young people, but also
That's
you
right.
learn so much more. You can kind of
Yeah.
follow their recipe in a way, as cheesy as that sounds.
No, it's true. You're absolutely right. Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Now, if our audience want to find out what you're up to in the future, maybe go follow you on social media, where should we go?
Yeah,
Obviously,
we're
Stream
all on
Queen.
Twitter. It's right now. It's all on. Well, let's see what Elon Musk does with it. But we're at Stream Queen XOXO on Twitter, and we will soon be on TikTok with something very special. But I know it's going to be good. But right now, Twitter, we are there constantly, always putting new things up for sure.
Yeah, I still haven't got on TikTok. I'm like, oh, it's just another thing. I don't want to do it.
I think it's too much. I think you're good.
Okay, good.
I think you can.
If
Yeah.
Hayley Tyson says
Although
I'm good.
dancing, although I
Good.
think you're dancing, you could do a dancing TikTok channel because TikTok is dancing, right? I mean, it's everything, but the origin was dancing. So, I mean, I think that you and your partner could do a good.
I'll look into it. It's another thing I got to do. We'll see how we go.
I think it's a good idea.
I need to team up with you more and be like, okay,
Yeah.
I think Hayley, I really feel you're
I
expert
feel
in
like
this
you guys
space.
could do a TikTok channel just called Dip Me.
Dip
And
me.
it's on all your different dips, right? There's something, it just could be called Dip Me and just do, I don't know, something in there.
Dip me different each time.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Oh, thanks for
Hayley.
having me.
It's been so much fun. I can't believe it's been over an hour. Like, it's just gone like that. Oh,
I know.
I love
was
talking to you.
that you and I could go for drinks, and then at the end we go, "Oh, we forgot to talk about."
Oh
I
yeah,
think that's what would
definitely.
happen.
Because you even looked at my all my podcasts, really look into my life. I'm like, I feel like we just need a whole nother hour for you to interview me.
Yeah. I know.
Hopefully,
I
let's
can
organize
interview
that in
you.
the future. All right. Maybe,
For sure.
who knows? Maybe an end of year podcast episode for Rave It Up is just you interviewing me.
Easy.
Easy. All right. We'll organize that. I like that idea. But you are welcome on this show anytime, okay, Hayley? If you want
Thank
to talk
you.
about anything in the future, I'd love to have you on. And I think I'm just going to end with this really big question. Are you ever planning to come to Australia? Because I'd love to meet you in person.
I would love to come. So I have a nephew who's there doing dental school there, and I have another nephew who lives there. And I would love to go to Australia.
You need to
It's
visit them,
definitely in
so-
the cards. Yeah.
Well, I'm in Sydney,
Look
so I
out.
know I'm not in Melbourne or Adelaide like those two, but
Oh,
I'm going to
but
have to
you
do
know
a
what?
trip to Sydney.
I would love to see the Sydney Opera House, the Opera House when it's lit up with the when they project things on it.
Oh, yeah, we call that Vivid. Yeah, it's a whole Vivid
Oh, what do you
festival.
call that? You call that what?
Vivid? VIVID.
Vivid.
Yeah, it's a whole Vivid festival here in Sydney. They do it for like a month.
Oh.
So every single night it
Oh.
projects on there. And they also do projections onto some of the buildings in the city as well. It's beautiful. Like, great night out.
Yeah, it looks. I've seen so many beautiful videos of it. I just absolutely love it. Love it.
It's usually
It
kind
shows
of
you that
around like,
architecture, really identifies a place.
oh, definitely.
right?
And the Harbour Bridge and, you know,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
come for the Harbour Bridge for our Sydney fireworks on New Year's Eve. Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Um,
Why are you so expensive? It's so expensive there.
I know, right? You know,
What's
even
happening?
my partner and I want to like buy a house, and we're like, Sydney's
How?
impossible to buy a house.
Yeah.
Unless, you
Lots
know,
of
as we-
similarities to Toronto. That's very similar. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a lot of simpatico because
Yeah.
Sydney, from everything I've seen, it's like, the $40 breakfast and like 40 a night or whatever. Same sort of thing. The really expensive condos, really expensive houses, for
Depends
young
where
people,
you-
they
yeah.
have to combine their funds. They have
yeah, it
to
depends
like
where you're,
really-
I guess, eating as well for the $40 breakfast. I've been able to do cheaper than that, but yeah.
right.
If you got two people, it's a $40 breakfast. Definitely easy. That's why you gotta eat at home. But otherwise, Vivid's kind of around. Like, it seems to be always around like June every year,
Okay.
which is our winter. So rug up.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
gets
Right
cold here, but
up. I love it.
I'm sure nothing like Canada though, from what I've seen.
Yeah. It's not as cold. Did you say rug up?
Rug up.
RUG?
Yes.
I have to take this down. Hold on. Rug up.
I never
Got it.
actually realized till now that's such an Aussie thing to say. Rug
That's
up.
a good saying. I like that. Rug
Yeah.
up. I'm going to use it.
Rug up. Yep. That means like just put on all your layers.
Right? Because my characters use other people's sayings from other countries when they don't know what they mean.
Yeah.
Right?
Please do.
So rug up.
You Brenna say that.
That's right.
Hey, well, I'm sure if you came to Sydney in our winter, if you're in Canada, that would be like,
I would not need to rug up.
no, you'd be like, this is like summer.
I'd be fine. I'd be fine.
Well, if that ever happens, let me know, all right, Hayley?
For
Show you
sure.
around. You can stay with us. I don't mind. Free accommodation. for you.
It'll be knock knock. Guess who's here?
I would love that. As you said, we would probably never stop talking. So
I know.
to have that. Keep in contact, all right, Hayley?
For sure. It's such a pleasure. Nice to meet you. And I can't wait for your TikTok channel. Get me.
Oh, gosh. That's another thing I got to do.
See you, Lauren.
Well, I hope you all enjoyed today's interview. If you'd like to check out any of our other interviews, please visit our website, raveituptv.com. All of the podcasts and videos are there for you to enjoy. And while you're on our website, please also check out our 2 books. One behind me, Knowing What I Know Now, as well as a mini ebook that I wrote called Staying Strong, Finding Inner Peace During Hard Times. If you'd like to further support us here at Rave It Up as well, please visit patreon.com/Rave It Up. You can pick a membership tier that works with you and your budget for as little as $4 a month. It's like a coffee, right, guys? And in return, you get a lot of free stuff and bonus content at Rave It Up. How could life get any better, right? Please share it with your friends. But for now, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.